Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society. We are grateful to gather on this beautiful morning, both in person and online, for a time of inspiration, reflection, and connection. Whether you join us today with joy in your heart, weighted with burdens, or searching for meaningful connections, we are glad that you are here. I'm the Reverend Diana Smith, the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Society. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a somewhat tall, white woman in my mid-40s with short, curly, white and brown hair, blue and green glasses, a blue-green shirt, and a very colorful stole standing in UUS's pulpit in the front of our sanctuary. Our sanctuary and adjoining religious education commons are filling with people of all ages. Through the window walls of our sanctuary, we connect with the outdoors, where it is a beautiful late spring, early summer day, feeling more like early summer all the time. As we gather, we give thanks for this land and all who have cared for it over the centuries, particularly the Kickapoo, the Iowa, the Sauk, and the Meskwaki, and the Oceti-Sakowin nations. As people of many ages, genders, races, sexual orientations, classes, abilities, and health statuses, we know how important it is to come together and work together to create a radically welcoming spiritual community. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith expresses our core value of love through how we agree to be together and to support each other. We're guided by the shared principles, sources, and values of our living religious tradition. And this morning, we'll be continuing to celebrate and explore our value of pluralism. That's how people of many, many different kinds of people come together to create community. We have all ages services on third Sundays because we know how important it is to this congregation to create a multi-generational community. We know that there is so much that we can learn from each other when members and friends of all ages work together. And the nursery is available for children 5 and under throughout the service. If you're newer to our congregation, we invite you to learn more about us after the service. For those who are here in person, you can talk to a greeter in the atrium. And for those who are online, please fill out the visitor form in the YouTube show notes to let us connect with you. And now our call to worship comes from Jason Cook, who writes, "We are seekers on a quest to discover truth and meaning. Sometimes we think we've found it, wrapped up, glimmering with newness, straight off the intellectual assembly line. All the answers right there for us, and others, if they'd only listen. But truth has a way of coming in disguise, sometimes wearing rags and sometimes finery, but so often cloaked from our immediate sight. And sometimes that which we have rejected, that which we have let go of, that which we have or decided was only for others but not us, can be our teacher. Let our time of worship be an acknowledgement of our never-ending journey towards truth and meaning and our appreciation of those we learn from along the way. Come, let us worship together." And as we begin our worship together, let's join our voices in song. We'll be singing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. Please rise in body or in spirit.
All the stirrings of Good morning. I am Bren Lindley. I am a short white woman with a brown and gray hair in a bun, wearing a green shirt and tan pants. As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice as a symbol of sanctuary and safety to unite us in our worship and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words as Chrissy lights our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the wonder and mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle the flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to serve those in need. This we promise, this we covenant with life and one another. Each week, we light a candle for justice and healing to acknowledge our interdependence with the natural world and with all members of the global community, especially the most vulnerable. We light this candle so that we may not be numbed to injustice and trauma, but rather find strength, courage, and love as we work in solidarity with others for liberation, justice, and healing. Together, we create resilience and hope. Today, as we light this candle, we're mindful of a 21-year-old in England who visits nursing homes and teaches the residents how to box as a way to stay fit. As I light this candle, let's hold a time of silence to listen to our hearts and bodies, or perhaps lift up prayers.
Okay, so today we are going to be using a book throughout most of the worship service. If you want to come up and look at the book, please come on up. There are also going to be pictures on the screens too. Our book today is Carl and the Meaning of Life. Big title, because today we are going to be learning about the meaning of life and how and why different people doing different things make a community work. So let's go, huh? All right. Oh, and this book is by Deborah Friedman. Reading upside down has its hazards. I got her name wrong because I read it upside down. The author's name wrong. Carl was not a bird. Carl was not a bear or a beaver. Carl was an earthworm. Yes, an earthworm. He lived underground, moving, always moving, burrowing, tunneling, digesting dead leaves, feasting and casting, turning hard dirt into fluffy soil day after day, over and over again. Over and over.
Why?
Asked a field mouse gathering seeds.
Why do you do that?
Why? Carl did not know why, but now he needed to find out. So Carl stopped making fluffy soil. "I'll be right back," he told the field mouse. So Carl knew that he spent all of his time turning hard dirt into fluffy soil, but when he was asked by a field mouse why he was doing it, Carl didn't have an answer. And so I'm going to invite us to engage with this question too, all of us here. I'm going to invite you to turn to your neighbor and talk about, briefly, for just a couple minutes, what is something you love to do in our congregation and why? Okay, you have 2 minutes. Talk to somebody else. You like, oh, Bluey class, yeah. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. So we've got lots of great conversation happening, and I am so glad that so many people have things to talk about what you love doing here and why. But we are going to go back to our story. So if you remember in our story, our mouse, the field mouse, had just asked why, and Carl went to go find out. He spotted a rabbit. Maybe she knew.
Why do I do what I do?
He asked her.
Oh, goodness, dear.
She said,
I do not know. I do what I do for my babies.
but Carl did not have any babies. A fox appeared. Carl turned to the fox.
Why do I do what I do? Who do I do it for?
Carl asked.
And for whom?
Replied the fox, who was very particular about grammar.
Alas, my meal awaits. I am here for the hunt.
But Carl did not want to hunt.
He was a prey, not a predator.
Right, because Carl, as an earthworm, was a prey, not a predator. He didn't really want to go hunt. So, we're going to take a pause here, and Bryn is going to help us do something else that has to do with collecting things. Oh, not that one. Offering. The offering. Thank you.
Carl didn't want to hunt, and he did have his own way of getting the food he needed. Just like Carl and the fox, we all have food we need and ways that we collect it. We also have ways that we share food and other resources to support this congregation and the wider community. How we do this, as well as the other ways we give and what we do with our lives, is a reflection of our values. It also responds to how we're all interconnected and the fact that we know that people in our congregation and our community need different things. In response to the abundance we are blessed with, Every week, this congregation donates generously to organizations in the community whose work aligns with our values and principles. Our community partner agency this month is the Free Lunch Program. The cornerstone of the Free Lunch Program is an open door, a full plate, and no questions asked. A hot meal is served 6 days a week at 1105 South Gilbert Court in Iowa City. Since 1986, UUS has provided the free lunch meal on the second Friday of every month to about 110 guests. 1986. Were you even alive then? I was. The UUS group welcomes new volunteers, and more information can be found in May's newsletter. In the sanctuary, the ushers will collect the offering, or you can follow the instructions on the screen for how to give online. All cash contributions go directly to our community partner agency. In addition to assisting our community partner, you may contribute towards your pledge to our society or contribute to the congregation to provide additional support for our operating expenses. You may also contribute by check using the memo line to designate the purpose. During all ages worship service on the third Sunday of the month, we also collect food for the UUS's Little Free Pantry. During the offertory, please bring forward any items you brought. The offering is a sign of commitment to this free congregation, which is completely supported by the generosity of all who join with us. As we give and receive this offering, may we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts.
Okay, thank you so much for your help with that. Really appreciate it. Okay, so when we left our story, Carl decided he didn't want to go hunt.
Why were you talking to a fox?
Asked the squirrel. Carl was startled.
Because the field mouse is waiting and wants to know what I am here for.
The squirrel declared,
I'm here to plant trees. Trees are where I sleep.
but Carl, being an earthworm, could not sleep, not high in a tree, and not without an answer for the mouse. So he pushed on
What?
and on. Hours turned into days until the soil was no longer fluffy. The ground around Carl turned barren and dry.
Who?
While he continued to search.
Why?
big sigh. But the birds had flown off to find the grasses and Fluff. The bear trundled away to look for berries. Soon, there was nobody to talk to.
What about me?
Asked Carl. The clouds were silent. So was the air.
I will never find out.
He sniffed. Then Carl heard his sniffle echo, followed by a squeak.
I can't find any grubs.
A voice cried. It was the saddest ground beetle that he had ever seen. Carl peeked under a stone. No grubs. Then he poked at the dirt. It was hard, like a rock. Where was his fluffy soil? It's all gone. Suddenly, Carl knew what he needed to do.
I'll be back.
He promised. We're going to pause our story there. I'm going to invite everyone into a time of meditation and prayer. I'm going to invite you to get comfortable where you are sitting. Let's take a breath in and out. You might want to close your eyes, or if you're more comfortable, leave them open. I invite you to imagine if you were an earthworm surrounded by beautiful, fluffy soil. You might imagine what it feels like to move your body in the environment where you are most comfortable, feeling the stuff of life all around you, helping create more possibility for life. With every movement, with every breath, connecting to the world and helping the world grow. Spirit of life and love, so often we come to these moments in our week not sure where to find grounding, not sure where connection leads us. Help us in those moments where we are unsure, where we are disconnected, when we feel disembodied. Help us reconnect with earth, with each other. Help us find solace for the pains and griefs that we hold and those of our community. Help us find the peace of knowing what it is that we need to do to deepen community, to help each and all connect with each other, grow, and create more love and life. Amen. Blessed be. Thank you. So, in our story, if you remember, Carl had been wandering all over the place, right?
Yep.
He had lots of questions. Do you remember what those questions were?
Why am I here and why?
Like, why am I here? What's happening? Who am I connected to? He'd been wondering and wandering and trying to figure things out. And then, what had happened to the ground while he was wandering around?
It got hard.
It got hard. And he had been trying to figure out what to do because everybody was missing now. And then suddenly, he figured things out. A lot of times when we figure things out, suddenly we have a feeling of deep peace when we know what it is we need to do. So let's find out what happened to Carl. Well, so Carl said, I know what I need to do and I will be back. And then for hours into days, weeks that turned into months, Carl munched, he digested, he left castings, and he tunneled and turned that hard dirt back into soil.
Because he ate it and then pooped it out.
Yes, he did. That is what earthworms do,
You made my seeds grow.
said the mouse. Clover blossomed once again, and the rabbit came back with her kits. The squirrel returned to plant new trees. The fox was lured by the hunt, all of them able to do what they do. And now, with all of them able to do what they do, we're going to hear from some people in our congregation again.
Our congregation is made up of many people, everyone doing what they can do to make this a thriving community. We gather in many ways to learn, sing, laugh, share meals, try new things, and help repair our beautiful, broken world. Together, we create a community that nurtures us as we seek to live love more fully and fiercely into this world. This morning, Michael Honey Arcement is here to share how connecting with UUS through the AV team has impacted him.
Good morning. I'm Michael Honey Arcement. I'm a elder millennial in a nice new Indiana Fever fan shirt. And yeah, I'm here to talk about and hype up the AV department and talk about, I think this is a very fitting story of what do we do? Why do we do what we do? And I think it's going in just being another part of this community and being a part of what allows all of this to happen. It's imagine coming into service one Sunday and no one volunteered to be at the pulpit. Imagine coming in one Sunday and the choir just decided to go on strike. Now imagine coming in one Sunday and the microphones are turned off. Or you're trying to watch at home, but the YouTube feed is gone. That's what the AV team does. And it's an essential part and also not a very difficult part. Maybe you don't feel like public speaking or taking up the mic. Maybe you're a little shy about your singing voice and you don't do it outside of the shower. But maybe you're a bit fidgety. Maybe you have a little bit of trouble kind of sitting in your seat. What if we told you that fidgeting is what keeps the mics working? That fidgeting is what broadcasts out to YouTube. What if we told you you get to come in on Sunday and you're told to fidget? That's what the AV team does. It's constant activity. It's constant restlessness. There's so much to go out and pay attention to and react to.
But it's also not scary.
It is not scary. It is not scary at all. And what I invite you to do is just go out with no pressure, just kind of find out for yourself. Like, Gary, can you stand up, Gary? Over off in the corner. Gary is coming in, and he actually had a little bit of a curiosity, and he's just like, what do you do? And so you just go in, and you sit, and you observe, and you watch, and you go, oh yeah, I can do that. And then we say, cool, come, hit the buttons, it's okay. And I'm actually coming in, and I'm here to really, really make a plea, because many hands make light work, and we are one of the lowest kind of population groups, and so we really do need people to come in and be like Gary, and just find out, just sit back there and see if you have, the willingness, if you have that nervous fidgeting in with you to go out and punch a couple little buttons and just hit next on the keyboard. Hit the mute button. Maybe just randomly mute Reverend Diana just for fun.
I'm not so sure about that one.
So, but yeah, no, we really do need some people to help. And I know, thank you. Please satisfy your curiosity and see for yourself.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, thank you, Michael. So we just got to hear from Michael about some of the things that people do, one of the things that people do in this community to make this community work. But let's go back and finish up our story. So in our story, all of the animals were able to do what they do because Carl went back to making soil. But how were they able to do what they do? Well, why not ask Carl? And that's the end of our story. Because you've got to think about it. How one person doing, or one earthworm doing what they do, helps everybody else do what they get to do.
Because it's called a life cycle.
Because it's called a life cycle. Exactly. Thank you, Dara. It's also kind of like something we call pluralism. Because all of us who live in community know that we have lots of different people with different ideas, with different identities, experiences, behaviors, and beliefs. And when we're in community, we know that these are a source of strength. They let all of us do what we need to do. But we also know that they're a source of tension sometimes, right? Now, sometimes it's because somebody stops doing some of the things that they need to do to help the community stay strong, and sometimes it's just because difference is hard. Sometimes it's hard to figure out how to talk to people across difference and how to understand ways to be together. So one of the things we've been talking about this month as we've been talking about pluralism are ways that help us with this. We've talked about some things like the willingness to stay engaged, to stay in the conversation. That's a really important part of having a pluralistic community, both inside of our congregations and in the bigger world. We've also noticed that self-differentiation, or knowing who we are in and of ourselves, and the ways that we respond to anxiety, where we don't try to spread anxiety, or we try to kind of manage our anxiety and not bring it into community in bigger ways, are also really important things for ways we can help our communities grow. We've also noticed things like seeing the humanity of each other and focusing on what's inside of other people's hearts and minds is a really important part of developing pluralism. One of the other things that we've been talking about is reframing our ideas into what's important to other people, and emotionally accepting the legitimacy of ideas of people who think differently than us. We know this is hard, but it's also really important. And part of this brings us to a willingness to reflect on, to discuss, and be moved on how we get there. We come into the idea of the willingness to be wrong, and we bring our creativity, our hearts, our gifts, and ourselves into community. And in all of these ways, we can create stronger, pluralistic communities where there's a lot of diversity. The ways that we receive information, the ways we react, and the ways we interact can allow us to create something special. And so, today, during this service, not only have we been listening to a story, but some people have been coloring. Who here has been coloring a puzzle piece? All right, awesome. I hope all those pieces got colored or brought into the sanctuary, because this is one of the ways, an example of one of the ways we create community. So Leah, can you bring that up here? And in just a moment, yeah, like just right where it was before. Thank you. All right, and would those of you who've been coloring, would you come on up, and I'm gonna put up the poster board, and we're gonna see what we can create together. Okay, yeah, come on up if you have a puzzle piece. And come on up, we can have a couple people at a time.
Yes. That. Perfect. Yeah, that way. Put it right there.
Okay. All right, and there is tape over here. All right, make sure you grab a piece of tape over here, and then come on up. What is emerging here? This is interesting, isn't it? Oh, let's find out. Oh, it's a 6B. Okay. Can you put this on 6B for me? Oh, I think it's right there. All right. So one of the things we're looking at here is, of course, how we create community, and how lots of different ideas and things coming together can help us create something beautiful. Okay. We are almost there. Okay. I think we've got a few more people. Oh, great. Oh, thank you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That might be all of our pieces. I think we might still be missing two. Oh, we've got them. Okay. Okay.
You're only missing one.
6A. Oh, wait, did that just, I think that was not 6A. 6D. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. 4D.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anyone have 6?
Does anybody have 6C out there? We're missing one piece. Okay, well, while we're missing one piece, look what we created. So for those of you, oh, hold on. Sorry, turn that one off. Only use one mic at a time. I think we're okay. All right. So some of you may recognize that this is our church building. That's UUS. And the practices of pluralism mean that we encounter and engage with deeply held theologies and worldviews with lots of different ideas and different kinds of people. And these things have emerged from our significant life experiences and a deep reflection that we have brought here. And one of the things that our art project, that all the things we're doing today can help us understand and experience is that in pluralism, we know that there are many multiple legitimate experiences, perspectives, and priorities for the work that we are doing together. And these are coming from people who are good and loving within our communities and our congregations. And we know that we are encountering these both from people who are more marginalized and people who are more privileged. And the tools that we use to listen and understand and how we need to stretch ourselves may be different in different situations. As we grow our ability to be present and share our presence with others, we can develop and grow our joy in others getting their needs met. And we can grow UUS as we are growing UUS as a place that is growing and changing and embracing pluralism, diversity, and the practices that support that. So may it be. Amen. Brenda.
Nurturing gratitude and how we understand and express interdependence is part of how we live into our Unitarian Universalist faith. May what has been shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnection and live into love and justice. At 11:15 this morning, we will hold our semi-annual congregational meeting. Before the congregational meeting, we will have an abbreviated social time with refreshments in the fellowship hall. During the meeting, there will be activities for children in the fellowship hall. The primary purpose of the May congregational meeting is to finalize the ballot for this week's leadership elections. In addition, congregational awards will be presented, and the minister, president, and treasurer will provide reflections and updates. Your attendance, whether in person or online, will help ensure that we meet the necessary quorum for the meeting. Members attending via Zoom can find meeting and passcode information in the special email sent on May 9, 2024. The subject of the email was Congregational Meeting on May 19, 2024, voting information. And it was sent by the Unitarian Universalist Society. If you are not a member, you can view the meeting by visiting our YouTube page. Members attending in person need to check in at the table outside the sanctuary. Please get settled early so that we can start at 11:15. And now, to close our service today, we will sing Here We Have Gathered, hymn number 360. Please rise in body and spirit as you are able.
All who seek you
shores, let us not forget. We who now gather know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us as we give, we gain. Sing now to friendship, this our heart's song.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
Before you leave today for Fellowship Hour, I hope you'll come and take a closer look at the art we created together. And if you find 6C, please contribute it. And now, as you go out into the world this day and this week, may you go cultivating the practices that help make a diverse, pluralistic community and society flourish. Go in peace, love, and justice, living love ever more fully and fiercely into this world. Amen, and blessed, blessed be.